So this is the Witch card of the Halloween Oracle, and it stands for the Earthly Weaver of the Worlds. And I will also be doing the Zombie card, which stands for Control, which means this is the last card. These are the last two cards of the deck that I will be posting videos on. So, yeah. So we see a green-skinned witch, but she does at least look young. She's wearing red lipstick, a black buckled hat with a rim, and it's hard to see, but you can just barely make out that it's a pointed hat. She also has a black buckle around her waist there, long sleeves. I don't know if she's wearing a dress or just a top, but nonetheless, classic witch outfit. Basically a modified pilgrim outfit. But what's important, I think, in this is that between her hands she has like this ball of fire or energy, and it has sort of sparks and smoke swirling away from it. So I think that's the most important point of this card. So the witch symbolism, being connected to the earth and the earth energies, being able to connect with and use energies, their own energy and energies of the natural world, but also as sort of there's a fierceness, or there's the ability to walk their own path, to go against the grain and do what feels right for them. That's sort of what a witch means to me, because it is not an easy path to follow. It's not something that is overly socially acceptable. Even when people are okay with it, it's not something that they would typically choose for themselves in most cases. So it's a path that is questioned quite often, and it makes it not so easy to follow sometimes. But it makes it a lot easier when you start recognizing that it's what works for you. Fire symbolizes like energy, passion and power. But I can't get over, she definitely has the sort of the Wicked Witch of the West vibe with the green skin, and I don't know why they chose the green skin here. I mean, around the hands it could just be the lighting, but I think it's more than just the lighting. But nonetheless, at least she's not like old and haggard, there's that. It could stand for that it could be time to reconnect with your own creation energy. Or maybe to be careful not to get burnt when you're playing with fire. Maybe it's time to break stereotypes and molds of how you should be in your world. Really question those things. You are the creator of your own life. And maybe just connecting with your own power within. But let's see what the book has to say. So it's the Witch, which stands for the Earthly Weaver of Worlds. And the little poem is, Earth, air, fire, water, a woman lovely, a woman strange, weaver of the worlds, moon's daughter, witch, the catalyst for change. I'd like to say at this point that there are also male witches, but that's kind of not the point, I guess, here. Witches have had a bad PR day for a couple of millennia now. Originally the healers or cunning women of the village. The very word witch comes from the Celtic word Wicca, meaning weaver or wise. When the new religion of Christianity spread through the land, the custodians of the old pagan ways, in part witches, were labeled as evil and, as we know from history, persecuted. They were driven underground, or under the night sky, into the shadows of misunderstanding and darkness. However, for purposes of Halloween, let's look at witches as the weavers of magic and change. Through spells and rituals, and even through herbal recipes, yes, often brewed in cauldrons, they weave the powers of this world and the next in synergy to solve problems and heal. Holding the Witch card means that you can weave your own change throughout your life, and that magic indeed is afoot. You must understand that you have power and it is real. It may also indicate that others may be threatened by your developing personal power, and they may not appreciate or like the changes in you as you grow. Be prepared for this and do not be discouraged. New friends and better opportunities will be attracted instead. I like the line, let's look at witches as weavers of magic and change, which is basically what the card states too. And that they are the weavers of powers in this world and the next, in synergy to solve problems and heal. I think that's kind of speaking a little bit more truer than the card may let on in imagery. You must understand that you have the power and it is real. I like that line too. And the idea that there may be some people that don't like the changes in you as you grow. And that's probably more due to the fact of their own insecurities about it, or that they've just gotten so used to you the way that you were, and nobody really likes change when they're comfortable with something. But you also don't want to stifle yourself in order to appease others. So change, and the people that care about you will still be there. The people that aren't meant to be in your life anymore will move along. So yeah, let's see what the other card has to say. So the next card and the last card is the zombie card, which stands for control. So in this card we see a kind of gray, blue, silvery, dead looking arm kind of reaching up out of the ground. It's not quite a clenched fist, but it's a very strained arm reaching up out of the ground. It looks like there could be like a kind of congealed, festering cut on the arm. Behind that is a tombstone with a cross on top. There's writing on the tombstone, but it's not really legible. Like there's 1798 and just stuff that isn't very legible. Behind that there is the full moon with some clouds around it in the night sky. And then it seems like it's fairly flat land. So either the gravestone is on like a little hill overlooking some land, or it's the only gravestone around in the area. I'm not quite sure. So zombies are sort of, they're the undead. They're kind of brainless or thoughtless. They sort of live to feed and are rotting. But the hand I associate with doing or action or interaction with the physical world. Tombstones, just basically a marker of where the body is, but also a marker of that person's life. The moon again cycles, or the night, power, energy. The clouds, I guess sort of like a cover. They're temporary and they're sort of a cover. It's sort of, I don't know why, but it's just sort of reminded me of Pet Sematary. Even though it wasn't an adult that was raised from the dead, it was pets and a little kid, but it still sort of reminds me of Pet Sematary. But considering that the symbol is control, maybe it's trying to let you know that maybe you're about to go too far with control. It's always good to have a idea of where you want to go, but when that starts to cross over into control, that's not so good. Or maybe stop pushing things that seem unnatural to you, or that seem like you're pushing them into an unnatural area or direction. Or maybe it's a warning that sometimes if you push for something that you aren't meant to have or that you aren't ready to have, you're not going to get the results that you anticipated. You're going to get something a little bit more twisted, a little bit more not right, because you weren't meant to have it, at least not at that point in time. Or maybe don't push yourself so far that you end up becoming a shell of your former self. That could very easily be this card. But let's see what the book actually has to say. So it's zombie, which stands for control, and the little poem is, "The dead arise, voices a mumbling. After our brains, our screams they are tumbling." Zombies have become quite the fashion recently, much like vampires. Turn on the television and you can't escape the moaning and groaning of these living dead. And yes, they do seem to be after your brains. There are even public zombie walks where people dress up as zombies and appear en masse on roads and cities. But zombies are not merely a fun icon of popular culture. Traditionally, they are mainly associated with the African and Haitian voodoo religion. Zombies are said to be dead bodies reanimated by incantations chanted by a learned practitioner called a bokor, and they are usually enlivened for a purpose. The practitioner is said to capture part of a living soul to animate the body, and that it is always a temporary action, as the soul cannot be contained in that decomposing body for long, or God will take the soul back. One of the most frightening aspects of the idea of zombieism is the idea of our soul and consciousness being trapped inside a body that does not do our bidding but somebody else's. Another is the idea of being buried alive, the fate that some, it is said, who get trapped in already dead bodies. Should the zombies step unsteadily into your life, it is time to look at the concept of control. Do you want to control everything, leaving little to free expression? Do you choose partners who are not your equal, so that they are more easily manipulated and changed to your liking? Or do you allow that to happen to you? If you're not living your most authentic life, it is time to look at why and how to change that. And definitely in this day and age, we'd like to keep control on everything because we don't want things to spin out of control because we have so many things going on. But we have to learn to let go a little, to allow the world to express itself freely, or situations or people to express themselves freely, because ultimately they are going to express whatever it is that needs to be expressed, whether it's your life or somebody else. But if it's stifled and controlled, it'll come out a little bit twisted than it was originally meant to be. And that comes up in relationship, that comes up in the way you live your life. So yeah, this is a good reminder of that. So this is the last card. I do not think I will be doing this again. I love the deck, it's beautiful, and I really like the descriptions on a lot of these, but trying to do a card a day was a little bit more work than I anticipated, and I was not able to keep up with it, but at least I finished it and I'm happy I finished it. I would probably do it again for this deck just because I like this deck so much, but I don't think I'll be doing it again in other ways or other capacities. So the only other thing I have to finish to complete in the YouTube world is the YouTube Pagan Challenge, which I'm still working on. I think I'm only a week behind at this point, so that's better than a couple weeks behind. But yes, I will finish that one as well, even if I'm working into the new year on it, but hopefully not. And then at that point, I don't know. We'll see what else, if anything, there is to go on about on here. Anyways, bye.